Hello everyone, Basha here. So, you know how I can't make videos, shorter than 20 minutes because I talk too much. I have come up with an idea so I can make a short video. And the video is a little bit silly, but I think it could help some people, right, that are undecided. So the video is what should you carry with you in the end game in your inventory, right? It's a bit of a question, right? What you should carry, because constantly going back to town during mapping is not very ideal. So if you are not carrying the right stuff, so if you're not carrying the right stuff, you have two options, right? You can just ignore that opportunity that requires you to carry this certain thing, right? You could just ignore it, or you could go back to the hideout and grab it from your stash, but that's not very efficient. So, but also we have only 60 squares of inventory space, so they are all very precious, right? So how to manage that? And guys, the golden rule that I go live by, at the moment I'm not, but the golden rule I live by is to not going back to your hideout while mapping, right? You enter a map, you finish the map with the given inventory slots, right? You do not go back and forth because that reduces the efficiency by a lot, right? So I think the first thing that is, I would say without question, is the identify scrolls, the scrolls of wisdom. Why? Because you find a lot of stuff, right? And it's not really possible to not go back to town if you do not carry an identify scroll, unless you are exercising an extremely strict filter, but that would cause you to lose money. So we want to find the sweet spot, right? We don't want to go back and forth to the hideout, but also we want to grab stuff with decent potential on them. You don't want to leave slip strike vest. I believe that was what's called the high evasion chest, right? You don't want to leave a rare slip strike vest on the ground, right? I mean, you kind of want to take a look at it because it could be worth multiple devices. I would say transmutation and augmentations are also included in the list. You well, we could leave these out. I will elaborate, and you can make the decision for yourself. So generally these are used, so augmentation is used for potential magic items that you pick from the ground. You get a level 81 wand, right? You ID it, and let's say it has a decent prefix or a suffix, then you want to do it to see if it's worth keeping or not, right? I mean, if one of these are bad, you can just drop it on the ground, so there is that. And transmutation augmentation combination is also useful on strong boxes, but yeah, I will have a few more words to say about that later on, right? Yeah, so this is, I think, debatable at this point. I'll get back to it. Val Orb, it is only worth carrying Val Orbs after season 02's arrival. Why? Because in 0.2 we can corrupt the essences, and it is generally profitable. So the silly part is, guys, let me show you. I have found not one of these, and I have spent maybe 400 Val Orbs in this endeavor, right? I mean, these are extremely rare, or I'm doing something wrong. I'm just doing a Val Orb on the essences that I find, and I have never found any of these. But what it does is, guys, it can upgrade them to greater. It can make the encounter drop an additional essence. It can upgrade the essence into something, an essence that is more valuable, sort of thing. So I would say Val Orbs are worth it. Next up, Orb of Alchemy. So that is what makes the transmutation and augmentation debatable, I would say. You could leave these out and just carry an alch. So this is, again, this is actually not even a patch 02 issue. This is a patch 0.2G issue, right? The patch that was delayed for ages, which was released a few days ago. So guys, that patch buffed chests to the extreme, right? A lot more quantity, a lot more rarity, right? And thing is, I believe they get an additional buff in the end game, right? So I think it's very much worth it these days, especially to do Orban of Alchemy, to use an Orb of Alchemy on the strong boxes that you find, right? Strong boxes also receive similar buffs that the chests have received, so they are rather good now, right? So guys, always the question is, when you're using currency on something, right, do I expect to get more value than what the currency costs, right? That's the golden question. So for example, we had this question for Witlings, we had this question for Exalteds, and the answer is always the same. Do I expect to get more out of this move than not doing it? So for example, an Orb of Alchemy is approximately half an Exalted. So guys, is it worth half an Exalted to give 4 modifiers to a Strongbox? I think yes, right? At this point, yes, because as I said, they have been buffed severely, right? I have been playing and I have been observing. While I do not have a huge data set, right? My instincts tell me it's worth it because I have seen pretty much decent stuff drop from it, and adding 4 modifiers to it improves the quality by a lot. So guys, the question that you have to ask yourself is, I just have a normal strongbox, right? Versus I have a rare strongbox that I pay 0.5 Exalted for. So is the upgrade from normal to rare worth 0.5 Exalted? And I would say it would be, right? Or of course you could just go for transmutation and augmentation, give them 2 modifiers, and the strongbox are a little bit weird. You use transmutation and they get 2 modifiers all of a sudden, and so on. And of course augmentation, transmutation, etc., they have other uses as well. For example, you find tablets, like you slap these on, right? There is also that. So yeah, I think, and guys, this brings us down to 55 precious inventory squares, right? I mean, if we carry all of these, the ID scrolls, augmentation, transmutation, vowel orbs, and Orb of Alchemy. If you're mapping, you could carry a few maps with you, because you don't want to do this, right? You go into the map, you finish the map, you come back out and you rummage through your stash for more maps. You don't want to do that. What you generally want to do is you grab like 4 or 5 decent maps from your stash, and then juice them up properly, and then do them back to back in order. So a few maps is also, I think, an idea. But of course, if you are not mapping, if you are doing simulacrum, etc., by all means save those, right? So as I said, this is a little bit trivial, but also I think important. If you carry stuff that you shouldn't have, that will force you go back to town more often than you should. If you do not carry the stuff that you should, then you'll be losing value, right? I think this is a pretty good form. I could, and maybe you guys could also test it without the augmentation and transmutation, just like this. But I feel like, I would, and you guys would feel the sting of not having these as well. So guys, because, what I said was, the alchemy could replace augmentation and transmutation because we mostly use them for strong boxes. The operative word is mostly, right? There are other stuff that you use them on. For example, as I said, there are the tablets, but of course, you could just dump the tablets, I guess. This is worth a try because, guys, every square of inventory matters, right? I mean, you should be carrying as few items as you should, right? But also, as I said, I mean, if you just go around with 60 empty inventory squares, the ID is going to be a pain, right? Especially if you have some rarity and if you are doing decent maps, you will be getting a lot of items with potential. And what you generally want to do is pick them up, right? If you're full, pick them up, ID a few of them, drop the bad ones, and move, right? Also, I think I could add one more thought to this. What about bad legendaries, bad uniques? Sorry, a lot of games the concepts get a bit mixed up, but you know what I mean, the uniques. So guys, should you pick up bad uniques, right? So for example, guys, you are getting let's say earthbound on the ground, right? Should you pick up that? Should you pick that up? So obviously it's worthless, right? It's not going to do anything for you, but the thing is, it does salvage for a chance shard, right? So that is very much dependent on your currency and also chance orbs value. So if you recall, guys, I recently posted a video in which you bought stuff from people for cheap that were disenchanting for 2 chance shards, right? So let me find this chance. There we are. So thing is, we have a very weird and strong drop in orb of chance values. My video was like 3-4 days ago, guys, and they were worth 9 exalted orbs. Right? I'm not exaggerating. So for a whole month they were like 8-9 exalted, and now all of a sudden they are below 6. So this means, guys, a random garbage legendary unique, if it disenchants for 1 orb of chance, it's worth 0.6 exalted orbs. And thing is, 0.6 exalted orbs is not that worth. So for example, I would definitely pick up alchemy orbs. I would pick up regal orbs, which is around the same value. Sorry, regal orbs are like 0.20 exalted orbs, and I would still pick them up. But the thing is, guys, regal orbs can stack, and they take up 1 inventory space. If I find 5 regal orbs in a run, they will take up 1 space, and they will add up to an exalted orb. What about crap uniques? I mean, sky's the limit, right? They can take 4 squares, they can take 8 squares. It's terrible, and they do not stack at all. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of a personal question, but thing is, if those chance orbs drop furthermore, I think it's not gonna be a personal question anymore. It's just gonna be, nope, don't pick garbage uniques up, right? In the last season they were like worth 3, and I was not picking them up at all. But as I said, also your total currency is important. As you can see, I have an okay amount of divines, 260 divines. I have some stuff worth about 100 up for sale. And if you take the divine exalted ratio into account, I am on the 40,000 exalted neighborhood. So I'm still picking them up, by the way. I'm a bit of a cheap ass, but I am more and more sliding towards the idea of not picking them up, right? If they drop a little bit more, it's just not going to be worth it for me, because, guys, most uniques salvage for 1 chance shard, right? I mean, the 2 chance shard ones are rare. They need to have 6 modifiers on them. I would say the 2 chance shard ones are worth it, but you can't really be picking up every legendary every unique to check if they are worth 2 chance shards. That's also time, right? I mean, if something drops that that salvages for 2 chance shards, I guess they are still worth picking up, because they are still worth about 1 exalted. But yeah, I mean, at 4, I mean, if a chance orb falls down to like 4 exalted orbs like last season, I'm gonna stop picking them up for sure. I don't know where the exact limit is, but yeah. So that's also something worth thinking about, I think. I mean, rares with potential, obviously, right? Even magic items with potential, with high level, sure, pick them up, right? ID them and drop them. But bad uniques, yeah, it's a question. And as I said, I am drifting more towards the idea of not picking them up at all. So yeah, there you have it. And I managed a video that is shorter than 15 minutes. I still made it much longer than it should be, but it's what I do. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.